Welcome to the Living Superhuman Fitness Podcast, where we take you inside our gym, CrossFit Palm Beach, each week. It's here that we are creating new superhumans every day, transforming people's lives, helping them reach a level of health they never knew possible. We strive to answer your most burning questions on fitness, health, nutrition, training, motivation, mindset, lifestyle, and more. If you have a question, please email us at info@crossfitpalmbeach.com. You can also learn more on our blog, livingsuperhuman.com. And if you have a moment, we'd love a review from you on iTunes. All right, it's time. Let's stop being average and start living superhuman. All right, guys, welcome to the Living Superhuman Fitness Podcast. My name is Andrew Frezza. I am joined today by
Tony Frezza,
Whitney Stevenson.
And today we're going to be talking about how to stay healthy over the holidays. And I was just informed that this is our 20th episode, so that's a pretty big milestone.
Woo!
Yay.
Background cheering.
So that one person that's still out there listening, we appreciate you. Thank you, Mom. See you for dinner. All right, so first thing we're going to talk about is just a general approach to the holidays and realizing that you will probably not be perfect during the holidays. And I think some people, maybe someone just started a diet, maybe just started CrossFit, started making positive changes, and then they feel like, oh my God, there's all these events coming up that's going to completely derail me. So we don't want to be on one end of the spectrum or the other. We don't want to be really good and then completely off track in the opposite direction. And I think just knowing that you're not going to be perfect and being mindful of that is one key to success. So simple thing you can start with is before like any type of holiday party or get together is loading up on some healthy options before you go there. All right, so you know there's going to be booze there's going to be a lot of sweet treats. If you can have some kind of meal beforehand, that can really set you up for success before going to those events. So do you guys have any strategies in regards to the parties or what to eat beforehand?
Yeah, I think back to like college when we used to go out and like kind of one of my things would be I'd like have something good to eat and also like bring like a water bottle with me. So I was like, I had food in me and I had water with me. So when I started drinking, I wasn't just like totally just out of it, and kind of use that approach now because it's like the same thing nowadays. Now that I'm older, instead of drinking a lot and feeling crappy the next day, I eat a lot and feel crappy the next day. So, having a game plan just like that, filling up like with a protein shake before you go out, that can help a lot to keep you full. And then, making sure you're hydrated, like bring a water with you and have a plan as you go.
Yeah, I agree. Or I think maybe just eating dinner before you go. Like just limit that. Just be like, I'm going to eat dinner at home and then I'll go and I'll have like a little bit of dessert when I'm there. And then if you're me, I don't personally drink, so I don't have that much advice, but I always get a nice bubble water. Or if I've been out to a couple restaurants with like my old job, I went to like a fancy dinner and I remember everyone was drinking. I didn't want to feel like left out, so I went and had a bubble water, but I was like, make it fancy, like put like a lemon in it and
make everybody think I'm drinking.
Yeah, and like make everyone else think that I'm like a part of, and I just had my bubble water and I was fine. So that's always a good option too, is you don't always have to drink at every party you go to. Maybe kind of limit that, like save those for like the really fun nights like New Year's Eve or something, and try to limit your drinking and use some bubble waters.
I like that trick. My favorite drink's a Moscow Mule, which is, I make it with LaCroix, vodka and ginger beer, which is not a terrible drink. So if you want to do that as your holiday drink, it's not a bad one. But then sometimes I'll just have a LaCroix between drinks and no one knows that
Exactly.
I'm no longer drinking Moscow Mule.
Exactly.
So, other people might think you've had like 6 or 7, but you've had more like 2 or 3. So that can kind of simultaneously keep you hydrated. At the same time, you don't feel like you have to stop and start during a party. You can just kind of keep your flow, but then later that night and the next day and next couple of days, you're definitely going to feel better because you've made that decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely social pressures to when you go out to drink all the drinks that are there and eat all the eats that are there. And how do you guys deal with like, not making someone feel bad for not eating like a dessert they made or something, or not touching a meal?
Whitney, you have to have some strategies on the drinking side. What's your, besides the bubble water, what else?
I just try not to play it up. Like, I feel like a lot of people go to a party and they're, either gorging themselves, like eating whatever they can, like totally every single dessert on the plate, or then you have somebody who doesn't eat anything at all and they're like making it known, like, well, I'm not eating this, I'm on a diet, or I'm not doing this. And I try to stick with my lifestyle. I don't think that, what I do every day in my life is, temporary at all. I try to make it permanent, and make it permanent through a party even. So I just try to stick with what I like, what I know. And I'll probably go either make dinner before, if I know I'm going to go to a place for dinner, a green, protein, a little bit of carbs, limit the desserts, and then my bubble water.
Yeah, I think that hydration is so big. I mean, even if you're gonna go off track, and even if you're gonna like say, oh, I'm gonna go all out, if you simply stay hydrated and you between every snack you have a little bit of water, between every drink you have a little bit of water, you're gonna make better decisions throughout the night. You're gonna, overall, the damage won't be as bad, but the next day you're gonna feel so much better. Like a lot of the alcohol related negative effects you're gonna have are a lot due to dehydration. And you're just gonna feel fuller, so you're likely to make less bad decisions if you are hydrated.
Yeah, and if you're sticking with your routine. So say you're going to a Thanksgiving dinner, but the next day you have a workout in the morning, or you have a competition in the morning. You kind of will automatically make better decisions because you're staying within your routine, like your life routine, and you're holding yourself accountable to show up at the gym the next day. So like, all right, like I'm not gonna drink, or I'm not gonna go, all out face in on the desserts. I'm just gonna have a couple. So I think sticking with your routine, whether you're home or away, is a really good way to kind of like hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, I think the parties are just basically the better planned cheats now. I mean, it's no different than my regular life where it's be good all week, and then Friday and Saturday comes along and you go for a cheat meal. Now it's just planned out a little bit better, a little bit classier at a friend's house. And
you get to dress up for this cheat meal.
But no one's having parties on Mondays, like pressuring you into drinking, or maybe they are, but we get a lot of invites at the gym.
You still end up in the corner with a pint of ice cream finishing off. So it's still the same thing. But yeah, the workout routine is key. I mean, if you have a workout the next morning and you're not letting yourself off the hook for that, you will definitely have a better night the night before. And if you don't, you'll learn for the next time, because that workout will just be so miserable that you won't want to be as bad the next time. And I think that's just something that you can use as a good rule of thumb throughout the entire month of like end of November into December, is do something physically active every single day. It doesn't have to be a true like CrossFit high intensity workout, but if you go out for a walk for 10 minutes or a jog for 10 minutes, nothing crazy, but you just get out the door and do something physically active, one, it's gonna make your body more physiologically ready to handle the food. Like from a hormones perspective, you're gonna be more insulin sensitive, so you're gonna handle carbs better. But like two, you're gonna mentally, like most people don't go for a walk or a jog or a hard CrossFit workout and like immediately want a cookie after. There's usually like a 3 or 4 hour barrier where you make better decisions, and those better decisions can really add up over like 30 days of doing that. Whereas if you get yourself off the hook, then you've just added a few more days in of some really bad decisions.
Yeah, and like there's plenty, down in South Florida, we're in season right now, so there's a lot of events outside going on. There's a 5K every weekend, if not 2 or 3 of them, and CrossFit competitions. We have our in-house one tomorrow. I know there's 2 other ones going on somewhat locally as well. So, you can find a CrossFit competition, you can find a 5K, something that'll just stay in the back of your mind as you're like going through these parties and you're like, all right, maybe I just shouldn't turn into a giant slob over Christmas.
Yeah, I think the holidays are a good time to maybe reflect on your like year-long goals or your season-long goals, and maybe come up with some smaller ones that you can do within like those next months, like signing up for a 5K or doing a triathlon or doing a CrossFit competition, whether it's in-house or away, just to kind of, again, keep yourself in check and not, fall too hard down the slide.
when we're left to our own vices, usually we go way off track. But when we have something that's like a true like stake, something that's going to hold us accountable, it's much more effective than just trying to use willpower. Where if you have that 5K, like we were just talking before the show, Tony and I are doing our in-house competition tomorrow. We're going to eat better tonight. We're going to get together. We're going to eat a little bit better tonight, maybe not drink as much because we have that competition, and just a bunch of those little decisions over the course of 6 weeks of the holidays for most people, it really adds up.
I think where I see a lot of people like really slip up is in traveling. Like, especially if you're leaving Florida and going somewhere cold, it's like, oh, but it was freezing. I wasn't going to go for a walk. I'm not going to go outside. And like, that's where they kind of just like, eat the stews and stay home and like have beer and hang out with family.
Hot chocolate. You can't warm up without hot chocolate. It's impossible.
And so I think, in the instances where you are traveling, or especially if you're going somewhere cold, try to keep up with your routine. It's awesome to drop into new CrossFit gyms and like see what's going on at a different box. And, the people are going to be very similar and like-minded, so you're going to feel right at home even though you're maybe in like New Jersey or something.
Are you hating on Jersey?
I know, I'm not hating on Jersey, but...
Yeah, traveling is definitely tough. Like, that is probably the hardest thing. Do you guys have any other tips for like traveling, whether it be stuff in airports or, if you're driving somewhere in the car for a long time, anything like that?
Just trying to have a plan, try to plan out your meals as much as you can. Try to bring good meals and try not to just be reactive to your meal choices. Try to be proactive in your choices.
I'm a little different, but I like to plan my meals a little bit, but more so I just like to plan like what I'm wearing. Not in like a girly way, but in like, all right, do I have my nanos? Do I have my shoes? Do I have something that I can work out with when I get home? Or am I in something comfortable where if like I get really stiff, I have like an 11-hour trip home to California and it's insane. And I always want to wear like yoga pants so I can like stretch when I'm waiting for my flight. And yeah, I feel a little ridiculous doing it sometimes, but it's better than having a super tight back for 3 days after that long flight. So for me, it's kind of just a little bit more strategic as far as like, how am I preparing what I'm bringing and taking to kind of maintain my routine, maintain my lifestyle.
Yeah, that's smart.
I thought you were making fun of Tony. Like, that outfit is really unhealthy.
The orange shorts? No way. Ain't having it.
I'm just going to put on a moo-moo and...
We apparently have different priorities the way you look, so I don't know. So I wanted to talk about a few just supplements that could be potentially good. If you want to not go the supplement route, one thing you really want to focus on is getting outside and getting some sunlight, because vitamin D is really going to help you prevent any type of sickness. And if you can get outside, there's a million other benefits to being outside and going for a walk, but specifically getting some sunlight will definitely help prevent your chances of getting sick during that time of year. And then if you can't get outside, you may want to look into like a vitamin D type supplement to see if that might be a benefit for you. And then one thing that you can use to kind of prevent any hangovers you may want to look into is charcoal, which is basically just a detoxifying substance. They have it at 3 Natives, I think, in some of their drinks. But that might be another thing you want to look into if you've had one too many drinks and you want to feel better and be effective the next day.
Yeah, and just, again, comes back to water. Like making sure you drink some water at the end of the night before you go to bed. Don't go to bed like with a little bit of a buzz going on. Or if you do, like try to get some water and some vitamins. That's probably the best part about taking the vitamins is you actually get to take water with it.
All right, let's talk about the holiday spread. So Whitney has a cool tip for if you're hosting a party.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe you're just going to a party, you want to bring a gift.
Yeah. You could bring a centerpiece for the table that is filled with fruits and vegetables. They make them, I've done like lemons, it looks really beautiful, but it also will like deter you away from like a spread of just sweets. It kind of like it's that healthy food reminder that's right in front of your face while you're eating dinner. You're probably gonna maybe not put as big of portions on your plate. It'll be in that back of your mind, like that subconscious reminder. And I was also thinking too, if you're visiting somebody and you need to get vitamin D and you need to get exercise, and if they have a dog, you could wake up early and walk their dog for them. And it would be an awesome like gesture, and you could get your exercise in, get that vitamin D because the sun is up earlier and sets sooner. And you kind of, I don't know, put yourself in a better position.
Yeah. Like that girl didn't eat my brownies, but she walked my dog.
Yep,
so
there you go.
I still like
And
her.
she brought all the fruit to the table.
She brought all the fruit.
that no one ate. But it's the mental aspect.
Plastic.
Yeah.
So when you're at that spread, definitely some good and not so good choices that you can make. I always like to prioritize vegetables first. Usually most places you can get some sort of raw vegetables. Usually it's with like a ranch dip or something, which you can skip. But if you can get some vegetables in your system and then kind of build your meal around some kind of cleaner protein source. I mean, Thanksgiving's great. You're going to usually have an abundance of turkey. So if you can prioritize some of the vegetables, some of the turkey, you can still have some of the stuff you really want in there. But it's really about that portion control and not overdoing it, and having that good base to your meal.
Yeah, I think also if you're going to a party, make a dish that's a little bit healthier, that you enjoy. That could be a healthy side, because you're probably gonna have carbs there. There's probably gonna be rolls or something. And you're definitely gonna have some kind of meat. You can guarantee on that. So bringing a healthy side will just kind of like balance that out. And you can make it like paleo inspired or whatever kind of like track diet or whatever nutrition you use. Make that and then bring that. And then you have a healthy option to choose from.
There's a really good book. It's not really about nutrition, but it's more about psychology of eating. It's called Mindless Eating, Why We Eat More Than We Think. And it's just really good about like helping you recognize like how you overeat sometimes. They do studies on like sizes of bags of popcorn. They did some studies with like bowls of soup, and they like refilled them from the bottom and like tracked how much people ate. But they'll talk about plate sizes. Like that's a big thing. So like if you go there with a giant plate up to the spread, you're gonna want to fill that plate. If you go with like a smaller plate, you're gonna eat a little bit less.
I like it.
That's just one of the things that they talk about.
What if you have small hands and the plate always looks big? All right, and then the dessert tray comes out. What do you guys do? Do you just have a little bit of everything? Do you have like one or two big pieces of something you really want?
Again, I always try not to be rude, so I eat everything. Yeah, I'm thinking about others.
I don't eat everything. I just usually stick to what I know, which is chocolate chip cookies are my favorite thing. So if there's a chocolate chip cookie, I'll have one of those. But I don't ever feel the desire to kind of please everyone or have everything. Usually somebody has a problem with something like gluten or dairy or cheese or who knows what's in a dessert. So I just kind of stick to what I know and eat that and enjoy it. And every time I've tried and gone out on a limb, I always feel like the desserts are too fancy for me anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that's just like what you should do. Stick to what you know. Don't feel the pressure to try everything, because you'll probably eat more than you anticipated and not feel that great the next day. And then also, as soon as the dessert tray comes out, go and get a water or go and get something to keep yourself hydrated. So you're not just sitting there after having a whole bunch of salty food wanting all this sweetness. You can kind of fill up, use some water, clean your palate.
Yeah, I like that targeted approach much better. I think when you try to have everything, you end up disappointed by some of the stuff that you don't really love anyways.
Yeah.
And then the things that you do want, you didn't really get to savor it and enjoy it because maybe you only had a little bit of it because you felt guilty about eating everything else. So, I mean, I'm a chocolate person, so it's just better for me to just stick with the chocolate and kind of ditch everything else if it's an option. And I think that's the same approach for most people is going to work well.
Yeah, and that's probably the point we're trying to get across is stick to your routine, do your workouts, and then when you go to these parties, enjoy yourself. Just, don't feel guilty.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole point is get guilt out of the equation. Know you worked hard, know you earned that cookie, and you can have it. And also recognize eating sugar is going to make you want more sugar. There's a reason why they give you bread at the table when you go to a restaurant. They know you're not going to fill up. It's just going to want you to crave more food. So, I mean, the science is there. I don't need to explain it. And obviously it works for restaurants. That's why they keep doing it. But if you start with like bread and carbs and starches, it's just going to want you to crave more starches. So you have to kind of recognize that and back off the dessert plate when you hit your limit.
Yeah, the whole satisfying cravings doesn't work for me. It just leads to more cravings.
No,
It's
sure.
like an endless cycle.
We have the same genetics. I hear you.
I've seen it work for others, but it's never really worked for me. I tried it. Let's talk about online shopping or shopping in general. Let's talk about just the stress component that comes with the holidays and just really like more of a holistic view of health, not just like not trying to put on 5 pounds, but really just like enjoying the holidays as a whole. So I mean, that shopping is one component because we're buying gifts for others, but also too, I think it's the approach of like, when you show up to a party, some of us get so caught up in the food. We've been talking about the food and the drinks a lot that we forget to actually enjoy time with others. And I think that's something that we can all take in the holidays. Like the reason we're shopping is not because we want to get this amazing gift for this person, because we want to show this person how much we care. So, if you're going to spend all your time stressing about getting the perfect thing and then you never actually like are present with that person who's in front of you, then you're kind of missing the point of what you're doing. So just trying to help people like reconnect with the reason they're doing things, not just getting caught up in all these, all these like cultural things that have developed over time.
Yeah, you got to relax through the holidays. I think a lot of people will see like January 1st and they're like, screw it. Like, I'm just going to let my health go, let my relationships go. And then January 1st, I'll turn it around. And yeah, there's a lot of power behind kind of wiping the slate clean, but there's no reason why you can't do that after every party. Every Monday comes around, wipe the slate clean and start anew. Don't just look at the horizon and say, well, I'll get better then, or I'll start talking to this person more then. Just try to start anew right here, right now.
I think it's really easy to get caught up in like that hustle and bustle and like getting gifts for people and traveling and people visiting. And I think it's just like a really good time to share, especially if you've been doing CrossFit or you're, embarking on like a new health endeavor, like share it with your family, share it with your people. If you want to maintain your routine or, you've already missed a class that week and you have people visiting, and bring them in, have them do a beach fit class, stay with what is going to make you happy, and invite other people into that. Like you can contribute to other people's lives, through a gift, through conversation, through sharing your knowledge of this new lifestyle, and just as they can contribute to yours. So try to make it a part of, your whole holidays, not just like segmenting everything, trying to fit this in this box and this in this box. Like try to kind of smooth it all out together.
Yeah, a lot of the changes that other people make just happen because someone plants a seed one day. Like, they see you eating a little bit healthier. There may be resistance to that. It may not seem like they have a positive reaction to what they're doing. They're questioning what you're doing. But sometimes that's just enough to plant the seed. And usually this is a good time to do it because they see that you kind of sticking to your guns. Like, you do indulge a little bit, but for the most part, you still prioritize healthy eating and drinking enough water. And they see those habits in you. And it can inspire a lot of people to make changes, even though it may be a tough time for them to do those changes as well. But this is a good opportunity to influence your family in a positive way and your friends in a positive way who aren't quite on board with all those changes you're making.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I guess that wraps up our holiday episode. Hopefully
Number
this will
20.
get out before next year's holidays. If you guys are listening to this, I hope it's before Christmas. And
Happy New
if
Year.
not, happy 2017. Thanks for joining us.